Larry Goldberg is here, and it's amazing that I was able to even, get him to be part of this program tonight because I'm sure that all he's thinking about is the rocket's red glare. Is that right, Larry? Are you?
That's about right. I mean, I waited with bated breath yesterday, and then we had a scrub because of the ground equipment needed some adjustments. The ground equipment is almost as complex, if not more complex, than the rocket itself.
Right.
And so that, it takes a lot of work. And they're busy, increasing the height and the power of these machines. And so the ground equipment has to keep up. And they're building a new tower, so that's adding complexity
Yeah.
because that has to be fed by some of it the same ground equipment. So, you know, I mean, these things happen. So, there may be another scrub tonight. I haven't checked in with the weather yet,
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, but from where I sit right now, it's another 2 hours.
Yeah. All right. Well, and later on in the program, I want to ask you for your thoughts on what you're hoping to see this particular launch accomplish. Biggest conversation over the weekend on X with regard to Tesla was about Elon's statement that version 14 is going to be 2 to 3 times the safety or the ability of humans. And then Dara from Uber says he still doubts that vision alone will work. I wonder what you thought about that exchange.
Well, Dara has his chips on it not working. So he's speaking his book. Um, and fine, that's what he has to do. I think there is only one remaining open question, and that is really adverse weather.
Hmm.
Um, in very serious adverse weather, I've had to take over because the FSD requires me to do that. I'm talking very serious. I'm talking where you really shouldn't be driving
Right,
anyway.
right. Yes.
I know that people do drive it. I know that, I was coming back from Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, and we got into the most almighty storm I've ever driven through.
Mm.
And all I could see were the two red lights in front of me. And
Hmm.
if that truck didn't have his lights on and flashing lights as well, I wouldn't have been able to see it. And there were cars to the left of me and to the right of me. I mean, off the highway,
Oh, yeah.
some of them lying on their sides. There was a big truck that
Oh, gee.
skidded off the highway.
Oh,
And FSD said, nope, you got to take over, my friend.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
But what interested me about that is that I could see that it could see as well as I could see
At
with
least.
those cameras.
Yeah.
I was looking at the camera all the time that I was going. In
Mm.
fact, I was using the camera more than I was using,
Yeah.
to see what was going on. I would I would say that it probably could have driven as well as I could drive, but it elected not to drive because that's what they've done. That's what they've decided to do. So it fascinates me to see what will happen when and if, they get to that point that they have to make that decision. And that is when they have, unassisted driving
Right.
and they encounter storms. I know that in the robotaxi test in Austin, that when we had a storm, they would suspend
Yeah.
service.
Right.
So, that's the one remaining issue, the only remaining issue that I'm aware of. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be really interesting to see how they tackle that and whether they tackle that and whether they're comfortable with it.
To me, just offhand, I would say that I would, I would hope that it would be with utmost caution that, like you did, it said get off the road, you get off the road. I mean, I've gotten off the road in sandstorms in
Yeah,
Arizona, in fog in upstate New York, in rainstorms in Florida and in Texas that were just unbelievable.
yeah,
Um, and so, if it's not drivable, it's not drivable. It's just, get
that's
off the road.
correct.
Wait, yeah, yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
we'll see.
yeah.
Time will tell. Time will tell. It'll be an interesting launch with the new, when they bring out. I'm looking forward to it. That's all I can
Yes,
say.
yes, aren't we all? So the IRS made these changes last Thursday to the rules, and there's been a headline or two, but not much. And even on X, I didn't see as much
Well,
conversation
I
as
will tell you that
yeah.
those in the know
Okay,
have adjusted their deliveries upward quite dramatically.
quite dramatically. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm talking about 50, 60,000 cars.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you know, I know that you all will get very excited about it because you'll think that it'll boost the stock price and so on. I regard it as a non-event. But
but
I gave serious thought to buying another Tesla.
oh, you did.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to go and get a Y. I have two threes
Threes.
and a Cybertruck.
Yeah, yeah,
And the Y is such a nice car. I'm really tempted to buy that and then, give the three to, one of the kids and let them use it in the interim until it becomes a robotaxi. So
yeah.
I'm kind of look, it's a year away probably that we'll be able to use it as a robotaxi,
Sure.
maybe even longer. But I'm quite happy to give it that time.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I know you've let us know, Larry, that you don't care about the unit numbers anymore and you don't care about the stock price anymore, but we all do. And
When you say anymore, I have never cared about the stock price.
okay, but we all care, Larry. And see, that's what we
But
bring
why?
because you're so
You have to solve the puzzle in my head is why are you so worried about the stock price?
okay. Why am I? I'm not that worried about the stock price, but I know that there are people in the audience who are. Some of the people in the audience are playing the stock. I mean, it hasn't been that long, Larry, since you've been playing the stock, and everybody's still teasing me about my one day in and out of the stock. I know that
Everybody, I'm teasing you.
just last Friday.
Only that's right.
Yeah, just that's right. And we know for sure that Nicholas Gibbs is playing the stock, and we know that Bradford Ferguson is selling options on a regular basis.
I'm not sure selling options is playing the stock.
Well, it's making a decision about what you think is going to do the next week in order to make sure that you're
True,
not, yeah,
true.
yeah. So I think there's an awful lot of people out there, Larry, that are counting on your wisdom as somebody who has played many, many stocks over the years, and who's paying a lot of attention generally to what's happening. Some people actually think you're smart.
I have to say that they would be best advised to speak to a stock advisor, not listen to me. I am not, I have no clue as to their situation. Look, in general, I have a very strong uh, conviction
Mhm.
that the stock is going to do exceptionally well
Right.
in the coming 2 years, 3 years, exceptionally well.
Mhm, mhm.
I can't tell you the date.
Right.
And I can tell you that the price between now and next June is immaterial to that thesis.
Right. Exactly.
If you want to play it, you play it at your own
Mhm.
peril this because the stock hasn't got the kind of direction the market seeks. It can on any given day, excuse me, it can on any given day go up or down 10%, as much
Yep.
as 10%.
Yep.
So that's why I say it is a very dangerous stock to play.
Mhm.
We have seen so many times people say, oh, it's now destined to do this
Mhm.
this coming week. It's destined to do nothing this coming
So,
week or month.
so you're a product man, though, software products. I'm a product man. So there's a lot of fun also in analyzing what how the company and how Elon is thinking about the products and how they're going to put them out there. So
Yeah, and that's a very fair analysis if you're interested in the company, its long-term future and strategy, and how you would play that strategy, how Elon is playing that strategy. And here's the thing. Don't criticize Elon for doing this or that or the other. You have
no,
no idea at all
no, not
what
good.
his strategy is and what he's
Ah,
playing.
no criticism, just advice. So my
Not
question is,
sure what the difference is.
so after
It's like a distinction without a difference.
so after we waded through all that philosophy, Larry, the reason I'm raising the question is that Elon said today that, or Elon, somebody said today, maybe Elon didn't, but somewhere in the ether, it was being suggested that Tesla is contemplating raising the price of the Y because of this IRS change. They've already pretty much eliminated all the discounts and deals that you can get, and they're still sold out for the rest of this, at least September, it appears. And now they've got, a whole month where they can sell, as you pointed out a minute ago, maybe 50,000 extra cars. And there was also chatter that he might increase yet again the number of shifts or the number of hours of the shifts.
Right.
So that all sounds very positive. I'm wondering what the impact that'll have on Q. Do you think that means Q gets moved back to Q1?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think about that. So that's a fair analysis. I don't think so. I think the production line is, yeah, in other words, they could switch their plans on that production line and keep the Y volume up. There's a lot to be said for that. I don't know how flexible Fremont is with their Y production. And the 3 is also selling quite well right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a point. You have a point. It's more than possible. It's more than
And
possible.
and some people have thought that the Model Q would first come out of China, and yet there's at least one report today, and I didn't see any confirmation or any proof of this, but at least one report from a good guy on X that maybe the Model YL is sold out for September. And once again, if the Model YL is sold out for September, it would be using some of those same lines. And so that might mean pushing back Model Q for China as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think Elon does not have a lot of enthusiasm for Model Q.
Yeah, what would be your first guess? Where would that come from? I don't understand why you think so.
You don't know how I came to that conclusion. I have my ways. I have my secret sauce.
Your secret sources.
So I think, yeah, I mean, it's more than possible. And listen, the margins they're making right now on the Y and the Y plus plus or the YLL is very significant. So
Yeah.
I think they would prefer that to, having the Model Q with its startup costs. But they've got the line now.
Yeah.
They've got the thing built. That they can't really sit on that capital. Well, I'm not sure it's capital because it's the same product line. You may be right. You may
All
be
right.
right. I
Well,
mean,
so
it's
then,
that whole question is just a big yawn to me, but okay.
all right. How about this one then?
Okay.
Elon says that FSD 14 will require months of debugging.
Mhm.
What do you think that means from a practical standpoint?
We saw it with the version 13. We saw several iterations. Saw quite a few releases, interim releases, small releases. I think we'll see the same thing.
Okay. So do you think so it could be buggy when it comes out? It might require some, a quick additional release to fix those bugs, kind of the way we see it with your Apple phone and whatnot.
Well, the same as we saw it with version
Or
13 and
13.
version 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you
So
think that's what it's okay.
I think that's where he's coming from. And I think the other thing he's telegraphing, in my view, may be wrong, is that it's going to be a good 6 months before we see the safety monitors removed and real scale beginning. I see people who think it's going to scale next month, or the balance of this month, all 6 days of it, or all few days of it. I mean, guys, keep your hats on your head. I mean, if you don't have hair, you got to protect yourself from the sun. You are not going to achieve immortality by predicting, that they're going to scale out in the next 30 days. They're not.
Yeah. Okay. So not scaling out in the next 30 days, and you're putting it. You're going to go along with Dylan Loomis, thinking that maybe the safety rider comes out near the end of the year, maybe even into January.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be February. It could be March. Look, Waymo had the safety riders in there for 2 years. 2 years. Come on,
All right.
This is people's lives. This is the company's reputation. This is everything. Everything. I'm not saying Tesla's going to have for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're certainly not going to have it less than 6 months.
Okay. All right. Okay. So on a slightly different subject, although related, Brian and CERN and I have done between us about, I don't know, 4 videos over the last 5 days about possible platooning of the semi-trucks, and the eventual numbers on semi-trucks maybe being as big as
Stunning. The numbers are stunning, but it's not going to happen for another year or 2 or 3.
Year or 2 or 3 on platooning or on FSD at all, or what do you think?
Platooning, FSD. Look, the safety in trucks is like an order of magnitude or 2 orders of magnitude more complex than the safety in cars.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not saying that we won't get small stretches of a highway where it'll be trialed. I'm not saying we won't get that. But before you see real live, customer paying platooning on a grand scale, we're a minimum of 12 months away, more likely 18 months away, and could be as long as 2.5 years away.
So, but before platooning would come just regular FSD, right? Just the ability to have a truck by itself go down the freeway. Or do you think that following could come before that?
Yeah, I think the following comes before that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I do think so. I think platooning means you have a driver up front.
Right.
And platooning really only starts, at the beginning of a freeway and ends at the end of a freeway.
Yeah.
On ramp, off ramp, you're done.
Yeah.
So, and there may be a short drive at the end of a ramp into the facility and vice versa.
Uh-huh.
So, and there's not, I mean, the economic opportunity for platooning is very large indeed. I honestly don't think they've even given it 2 minutes of thought.
Oh.
I think they are so focused on getting the truck made, get it into production, delivering on the several hundred, several thousand orders they already have, getting the thing going. Platooning is like the next thing, and I don't think we're going to see revenue in large scale out of that for the next 2.5 years, 2 years. So it's like everything we've done with Tesla, we're like anticipating years ahead, and we're thinking months.
Right. All right. On the general economy, 𝐿 Professor Siegel, Tom Lee, all saying that that this is a bull market, no holds barred. Tom Lee goes further. He goes, we're at the beginning of a bull market. What say you?
Tom Lee makes a very compelling argument. I listened very carefully to an extensive conversation with Tom Lee, and he makes a very compelling argument. I've seen his numbers, I've seen his charts, and I have an immense amount of respect for him. He's proven himself to me again and again and again. And so all I have to say is that some of the best market callers have made some of the worst mistakes.
This is true.
So is he wrong this time? It's possible. I think proceed with extreme caution. That's my view, but that's always been my view.
Sure, of course.
But I am going to expose a little bit more of my portfolio to stocks. As I've told you, I've bought a little parcel of infrastructure stocks. And I got the stock pick I got was from Motley Fool. They're very good stock pickers, by the way, very good stock pickers. If you have a thesis and you want to test a thesis, Motley Fool will have a set of stocks that fit that particular thesis. If you want to buy individual stocks, I don't recommend it for the average investor.
Right.
It's up to you. So I bought these stocks and I'm up like 20% in like 3 months.
Wow.
And maybe more, actually. I think it's a little bit more. Because A, he was so timely, when things were down, and B, Motley Fool got the individual stocks correct. Right. So none of my, choosing. So, and this was at the beginning of the Trump, so maybe it's a little bit more than 3 months, maybe it's 4 months. It was the beginning of Trump tariffs. So I take the advice of the experts quite seriously. I think they are experts, and I think they are right. I think we are at the beginning of a boom period. I think we've come out of a long gray recession, or we are coming out with any luck. This Federal Reserve Bank chairman has had his head screwed back on by Trump, and that he will make the right call, and that I think the country will recover. I'm hoping the property market picks up dramatically in the next 3 months. I think it will. I'm hoping this government has the bandwidth to privatize Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, that would be good. I truly privatize. I don't mean I don't mean a
halfway,
half measure. So I'm kind of betting on it because I'm moving house at the end of mid-September, late September. I have this house to sell. I'm going to hold it off the market. I'm thinking until spring next year. I think there's going to be a very big
good market. Yeah, could be big.
Yeah. So you asked me about Tom Lee and all the other experts. I'm aligned with them. I really am.
So speaking of Jar Powell, if you dig into the Fed minutes, staffers found there was less impact from tariffs than expected. Really?
Such a surprise. It's amazing what these guys see after the fact. I mean, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, I took a little victory lap on that one.
Yeah, and somebody should call Gary Black. Anybody got Gary's number? I'll call him right now.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give him a call. Gary.
Yeah.
So stop trolling that guy.
Yeah. So they got that one wrong, and they're saying, well, not as much as expected. Then the staffers also found that the likelihood of the unemployment numbers going up through the end of the year and into Q1 was stronger than they expected. And I'm thinking that those two things might have been all he needed to make the switch. And we could give him credit that these were two new pieces of data that actually caused him to make a legitimate, thought out, analytical decision.
Why did he not have that data 3 weeks ago? What was missing 3 weeks ago that we now know?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Clown. Absolute bloody clown.
All right. I know, speaking of stocks that you hold, unless you've changed, you have NVIDIA in your portfolio. And their numbers are coming on Wednesday. And of course, call comes with the numbers. So what are you thinking happens with the call and with the print and with the numbers on Wednesday? Do we get a big beat? Do we get good guidance? Is there anything special coming in that call that you think might happen?
Classically, NVIDIA doesn't do well with earnings because expectations are so high, even though their earnings come in, so beautifully the analysts have to find something there. It's like, I don't know, maybe this is the end of the road, blah, blah, blah. So I don't expect even that there's going to be a beat, even though there's going to be a beat, which I expect there to be, that the stock will react. It's at 180. It's kind of an all-time high. It's
50 PE or something, right?
Yeah. So it's got to get everything so absolutely perfect. I'm not sure it's possible.
Do you have any hints or thoughts about the call? Anything that might be coming that would surprise us that you're already kind of expecting?
Well, everybody's going to be talking about China.
Yeah.
So, and the news on China is not necessarily going to be good. So I think that may be the turd in the, I shouldn't use that. Maybe that'll be the problem that the analysts fix on. So I'm expecting the stock to pull back a little, but I've been very wrong on NVIDIA before. I've been right as well, but
yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, let's come around to Starship. What do you think? I ran a story this morning where I talked about the 10 biggest things that Grok said that Starship needs to do tonight to satisfy the folks at SpaceX. What do you think? What are you hoping for? You have any KPIs for tonight?
yeah, I'm hoping for two things. I'm hoping for the ship to make its full orbit, number one. And number two, I'm hoping that they deploy the faux satellites. Those are the two big ones. There are some subsidiary ones, and that is how well the heat shield functions.
Right.
That they've solved the problem with the engines catching, well, the leaks and the methane fires and so on. I'm hoping that problem is solved. But it's a test article. These things, I mean, it would not shock me if it failed. At one point in the flight, they're not going to try and return the booster. It's not material. They know how to return it. They know it will return. They're very comfortable, and I don't think they want to risk their launch pad, and they do want to be able to launch again very rapidly after this. And I think they will do like a 3-week turnaround, 2 to 3 week turnaround between this and the next launch.
Oh,
and that's the reason they don't want to return the booster. It's my belief.
I see.
So they do have another shot at this version of the ship to test the ship again. But look, if the ship fails, I wouldn't treat it as a disaster, because this is the second last or the third last of this version of the ship. And they have a much bigger version, which is a complete redesign. So I think they have to get through these 2 or 3 as quickly as they can.
Hmm.
And if the ship succeeds this time, they may do one more
Hmm.
and then move on to the next version. And I think they're trying to preserve that the launch pad for that. Now, the other thing is they are going to move to the next launch pad for the new version.
Hmm.
They've got a second launch pad that's up and nearly operational. I think it'll be in time for the next version. So what we're seeing now is the kind of trailing end of this version of the tests of this version. They're interim tests, not as important as what is coming up when they test the version 3 of the booster and the ship. And that will have the new version 3 of the engines. Now that is a big, big deal. It's going to increase the capacity of this rocket by a huge amount, huge amount. And they're spectacular engines. They are engines such as we've not seen ever in the history of spaceflight. So I'm very excited to see those get into the air. So, my expectations aren't that high, and I'm not there.
Yeah, you're not down in
Yeah.
yeah.
So, one's heart doesn't get attached to the rockets, one doesn't,
Actually view.
help get up there. One feels like you're part of the gang, you're part of the team. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Did I miss anything about Tesla that you were thinking that I should have covered today, or anything about the markets, anything about the economy? I mean, we could go on and on for
I
hours.
know we do. I think
Well,
we
we could go
probably
on hours about what Trump is
yeah.
doing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely stunning to me. It's like,
It is a revolution. It is a revolutionary presidency. It's a revolutionary president. It's a revolutionary cabinet. I mean, what an amazing cabinet. What an amazing team. Very impressive. Very
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. Every morning I get up and what is he going to do today?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look, Larry, because we have to do the numbers. And so we had Tesla up 1.94% today, 394,660. After hours down 0.36. So I know,
Is this 3 days in a row we're up now?
in 3 weeks or 4 weeks in a row.
3 weeks and 3 days in a row,
Yeah,
because we did have some down before. Yeah.
yeah. So it's all that looking awfully good. I did put out a video on Sunday morning talking about the 10 reasons why I believe we're on the way to the moon now. That doesn't mean it will be down day.
I'm going to do a string of your programs where you tell us that we're on the way now. I'm going to do like the last 30 of them.
Good.
Put them in
That'd
one.
be fun. I'd like that. Yeah. Well, you got to take your best shot, right? Just take
Yeah.
your best shot.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
All
going to
right.
be one of these days, you're going to be right.
Again, Larry, I'm going to be right again.
Yeah.
You're forgetting I was right once.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were.
All right, let's take a look at, well, how come I'm having such trouble turning off I got all these things that are turned on here. Can't get to the real stuff here. The bonds. Okay. So the 10-year went up, Larry.
No.
Yeah,
The rate went up?
the rate went up. I'm sorry.
Holy
Yes, I remember
smokes.
to always say that. The yield
Yeah.
went up.
Yeah, the yield went up.
Not a lot, a couple of basis points. Back to
Yeah, but that's a surprise. That's truly a surprise.
I know.
I thought the
It
pressure would
was
be down.
Well, I'm thinking what it was. First of all, there's always profit taking, but also
Yeah.
I called it this morning. I called it buyer's remorse. I think there was too much belief on Friday that there had been a decision.
We should have had Tom Lee come back on CNBC again.
He did. He came on this morning.
Oh, and he didn't move the stock. He didn't move the
Didn't move the
bonds.
bonds. No, I don't know why.
Wow. Bad.
I think that the importance right now, even though I want the mortgage rates to come down, as Tom Lee points out, the mortgage rates, we talked about this on Friday, I think, that we have a big gap between where the mortgages have room to move without the 10-year moving.
They do. They do. There's no
And
doubt about it.
so I'm more interested in what the shorts do right now, because that helps durables,
Yeah.
and durables helps manufacturing, which helps trucking.
Yeah.
All those get helped. The what do you call it? Regional banks get helped when the short rates come down. The Russell 2000 gets
By
helped.
the way, I'll share with you a very important thesis that I'm developing right now.
All right.
And Tom Lee is to blame for it. You know, I had this conversation with Kathy actually on Friday.
Okay.
I think that there's a huge play with JP Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs, and possibly even Bank of America, because of the gigantic costs that they're going to be taking out of their operations through AI.
Yeah. I saw Tom talking about that.
Now, you know, Kathy has this whole thesis about, you know, alternate currencies going to outshine the dollar, and so classical institutions are going to be impacted. But here's the fact. These classical institutions are going to show a lot of flexibility, particularly JP Morgan Chase and Goldman, particularly those two, because they are so fleet on their feet for very large organizations. And they are going to adopt these digital currencies just as quickly as the market, in my judgment, in the market as a whole. I'm not talking about the small, you know, the individual players. I'm talking about the market as a whole. But they're going to adopt AI faster than the rest of the market.
Yep.
You know, JP Morgan Chase is the largest software company in the world.
Oh, they are.
You know, they have over 150,000 software engineers. I may be wrong by 10 or 20 or 30,000.
Yeah.
They have over 100,000 software engineers. Software, yeah. So, and they are very forward-looking in their IT operations, and in their software development. I know this. They've been clients of mine for years.
Sure.
Decades, actually, over a decade. So I think that they are going to be the biggest beneficiary of this first AI wave that's coming.
Wow. So have you bought any JP Morgan stock yet?
I'm looking at it. You know, I don't buy in big.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at it. I think they're a very, very good counter.
All right. So
you know, I made a lot of money in the 2010 collapse by buying Bank of America.
Yeah.
When Berkshire bought Bank of America, I decided to buy Bank of America. That did extremely well for me.
Yeah.
But I think JP Morgan Chase is the better bet in this case. Although I had Bank of America were clients of mine, they're excellent people. Some of their people weren't as good, but excellent. My client was excellent. Anyway,
all right.
Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
no, it's good. I liked it. I liked every minute of it. Oil down a little bit, still sitting around 64.76. There's we talked about this, I think, a couple of years ago, but we've been kind of in the subject matter around oil and natural gas has changed since then, but there's these kind of perfect situations on oil and gas where the oil companies and the gas companies make the most money. And I think we're kind of nestling into that spot where it's almost Goldilocks, and it's going to be, hard to get it lower because they'll fight against it going lower because maybe they're in a little stronger position to control prices right now than they normally are. I'm not sure, but that looks to me like what's happening. It's kind of getting in that sweet spot. And we're talking about sweet crude, right? Anyway, I'm going to say, yeah, never mind. Yeah. Gold, Larry, you might eventually be right. We went down, we're down 720 in the pre-market, but we're still at 34.10. So
it's still up there.
It's still way up there. We have got silver backing off where we got here. Boy,
they were almost at their all-time highs yesterday.
Yeah, no, gold has been flirting with the
Friday.
silver's flirting with its all-time high. Both of them are right there. Copper, of course, we know came down, but it's pretty flat for the last 2 or 3 weeks at around $4.46, and that's where it's sitting right now. Then Bitcoin. Now, this is everybody. I've seen the question on X today a couple of 3 times. One person said, "Explain to me like I'm 7." Why is Bitcoin down another 3,000 to 110,000 today? So there you go.
More sellers than buyers.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Well, if he's 7, that's what he's got to understand.
More
And if he
sellers.
was 70, I'd tell him the same thing.
That's right, 100%. Yeah, but it's very interesting that it's down this much, especially because everybody has now their theory about Bitcoin being kind of a leading indicator for the technicals. And we've got NVIDIA reporting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I don't know what any of that means, Larry. I'm just throwing it out there. The equities tonight, if it has any predictive value at all, we've got all 3 up. Dow's up about 0.11, S&P up 0.09, and the NASDAQ down 0.05. Now that's a little slightly interesting in that today we had a reversal of this
Reversion.
the rotation that we were seeing the last few weeks. Today that kind of reversed out, and now it's reversing back to rotation again, at least in this little tiny window.
You can't tell day to day. You got to look at the trend over time.
Right. But do you think
Yeah.
Tom Lee definitely thinks the rotation is in?
Yeah.
He's all about the mid caps right now.
The mid caps, yeah, I think anybody playing the mid caps are fortunate, and then they're fortunate until they become unfortunate. The mid caps, they never sustain. I mean, I hear Tom Lee talking about them, and as I've told you,
Right.
I'm invested in some of them, but
yes.
very specific
Yes.
industry or a very specific segment that I'm playing. Mid caps, are always great until they're not great, and they are very often not, they're very often at that point. They have very brief lifespans. They're like glowworms. They turn on and then they're gone.
Well, we have a couple of minutes left, Larry, because we want to see this flight, but I do want to bring up one last thing. And for those that didn't hang in till the bitter end, they're going to miss this important piece because I should have written it down. I forgot to write it down. And that is, that I paid very close attention to Elon's statement that he's thinking about building a solar panel gigafactory. Then this weekend, the question came up about China versus the United States, both of their power capability and how that's impacting AI. You and I are both working on a book right now about AI. A lot of the book is talking about the whole energy problem. And Elon says, I have a plan for that. That's what he said. So I'm really now completely sold that he is going to do a solar giga plant. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay. Write it down, everybody. We have to, it's coffee, Larry.
I don't think so. Maybe, as I said before, we're here to second guess Elon.
Yeah.
So that's my second guess. But, it'd be interesting to see if I'm wrong. He's had a solar factory before, so he does know a little bit about the subject.
Right. And I'm sure, have engineers that are working on it every single day.
Yeah, and they build solar
rooftops
tiles right now. So it'd be interesting. I mean, look, the chemistry in solar roof have changed so dramatically, so dramatically. But I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. It would have to be something pretty unique. And even if he does, it's going to be 2 to 3 years in the process. The question is, does it happen under Tesla? I guess it does.
Probably. I would think that we would all be a little angry with him if solar somehow was not was something he put in a different company.
I think that's right. I think
Yeah,
he
I think
would.
that's
He
right.
would.
All right, Larry, that's all I've got. Oh no, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. So I commonly ask you for wisdom. Tonight, I'm going to ask you for a slightly different version of wisdom. You've done pretty well as an investor, and we could also say you've done pretty well in business. But let's talk about the investor side of who you've been. What do you think the number one thing is that you have, or that you've developed, or the skill set that you are the emotional basis, anything that comes to mind that would be the number one reason why you've done well as an investor?
Yeah, I don't put emotion into my investment.
No emotion.
No emotion. I may be attracted by a particular story or person or thesis, but I'm always prepared to hear that I'm wrong, and I'm always prepared to be convinced that I need to change my thesis. So, that's how I've been able to hold on to my Tesla all this time, because I do the analysis, I make the decision, I don't get, like some of us, I don't get scared. I don't get, I stick to my thesis. If my thesis changes, I'm more than happy to make the change. You know, I and I've made mistakes. I mean,
Yeah,
I
after.
forgive myself my mistakes. I just move on. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about them. I try and separate emotion from the investment thesis and keep those two in very separate buckets. If you're an emotional investor, you probably need to go to Brad Ferguson or some other, money manager, and let them take care of you.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody that's not going to be making decisions on emotion.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, I think we'll wrap it up with that. And, we'll look forward to Tesla getting launched tonight. See, it's 3:30, 6:30. So it's about an hour from now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they get the
I
thing
think
up.
what you meant to say is SpaceX being launched,
What did
but
I
you said
say?
Tesla. You said Tesla.
My
But
goodness.
you're forgiven because you're very emotional about your
That's right.
investment.
Okay, Larry. With that, it's been great talking to you, not necessarily. Which way do I have
Uh,
to do that? I don't know which way. Anyway, you're
yeah,
somewhere.
doesn't matter. I'm there.
All right, Larry.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Have a
Good night.
great week. Yeah, take care. Bye.